Okay, I'm walking across the street so y'all can see the property. That is the front of my property. Looks like most people's front yards. It is actually 0.89 acres of land. I'm using a quarter acre of it to grow for the specific reason of studying the profitability of a quarter acre of grow space. The reason I am studying a quarter acre of grow space is because that is a general land space a new housing development has, and as well as city lots. So for those of you looking for freedom, that is why I'm studying it, because if you can make 40,000 off of a quarter acre, then you're pretty much free to live your life as you choose. At least in my state. In another state it may be different, but also the cost of food would change, so everything is proportional. All right. Grow bed. This is probably, what is this? I think this was the fourth or fifth grow bed I installed. This grow bed was installed using butcher paper and mulch. I laid a strip of butcher paper down. I put 8 inches of mulch down on it. That's how I established this bed. That is it. I did not weed, did not do any grass. Let it sit for a season and went there. Notice I have the lovely specimen of poison ivy right here. Please imagine rubbing your hand on that. But seriously, no. I have yarrow, which is a great flower. I have zinnias in here, which is a great flower to grow. There's some pokeweed in there. Bee balm. Lilies, they do well in the fall. Tick seed. Asbecia. God. Alyssium. I can't say everything. Burdock root. That burdock root's doing bad. Don't worry. It was a test. A lot of things you see in here are tests. Burdock root. Uh, Violets coming in. Those are great. More tick seed. More. Oh, these are about to come back and bloom. That's great. Some more bee balm. You see some lavender in there. Actually, somebody just gave me lavender plants, so I put them in the garden because I think it'll be a nice backdrop for you. But everything over here is a medicinal plant, a flower plant. This is where I pluck all my flowers. So I do flower bouquets from here. You don't see many flowers because I've been harvesting. But yeah, hibiscus, everything. Everything is here. I probably skipped over a couple of varieties. Like I said, flowers, zinnias. Bee balm going into bloom or finishing up bloom. Those are old ones, so I should cut off. Yeah, so that is part of the setup. I thought this was a little cool study. I cut this off, so I broke that. But I have a dahlia that actually grows out of my yarrow patch. So you can actually plant your root tubers with a shallow root plant over top of it, and they will last. Dahlias are supposed to die in this climate zone. You're supposed to take the root out over winter, and I just said, no, I'm going to see what happens if I put a yarrow plant on top. And that was able to insulate it so that the dahlia comes back every year without me having to dig it up and save it. Agastache plant, there's so many plants I could go through. But yeah, so this is my setup where I have medicinal herbs, but mainly this is flower medicinals. Over here is just my field of daisies that I like, daisies that I pluck and give out to people in handfuls. I went ahead and put some annuals behind it, and I find that if you plant, like you see the brick house, you see the hedge, you see this, in this space in between there, because of how it is insulated, it's west, the sun sets over here, west facing on the other side, it stays warmer. So I'm able to actually have annuals live in this bed up front if I plant them right. Not every annual makes it, but some of them will make it through the season. Random plant. Anyway, so you're seeing things looking half dead, half alive. It's because I'm chilling. This is not the season, but again, yarrow. I've used yarrow. I have French marigold. I have a nitrogen fixer, red button, which is a local, it's a native to us. So, red bud, excuse me. It's a nitrogen fixer. It's a legume tree. I have a mulberry that I need to pull up, but I just haven't decided where I'm gonna put it yet because I want to keep it. Straw flower. Just tons and tons and tons. So many plants. I have chamomile coming up. I have magnolias coming up over there. I have a lot of trees for flowers coming in too now. But that hasn't been my money. Oh. More. So just to understand, flower bouquets, edible bouquets, herbal tinctures, teas, those are the things I get out of here. Personal use, I get mushrooms growing in here as well. These are reddened parasols. These are edible mushrooms. I eat those. Those are wild harvested. But I also have oyster mushrooms growing in my garden. I have almond mushrooms growing in my garden. I have reishi mushrooms growing in my garden. So everything I have landscape, every space I'm using is a useful space. The end of story. Like lemon balm is right here. How do I sell transplants? They reseed. I clean the roots. I turn them into bare root plants. Then I replant them because you can't actually transfer soil. It's illegal. You get into laws about that and pests. But if you clean the plants, actually do a bare root, start bare soil, and replant it, you're doing it. So you can do that legally in my state. So I make bare soil root transplants. Catmint did horrible. Doesn't matter. Catmint seems not to be able to die. So if I figured out how to kill it, it'd be heaven sent. This is the only bed I have not been able to stay on top of weeding, and I'm just haven't been able to figure it out yet. I learned grass doesn't grow fast uphill, so that's why I did a lot of my beds, but I didn't get this one right. It does have asparagus in it. I did discover asparagus makes it harder for grass to grow, but I didn't plant enough asparagus. And that's all for me eating. This bed is just personal flower. Again, this is just a bed I would use for flowers because my neighbors see it. Yeah, if you're designing your home, have a homestead, put your flowers, put anything beautiful in the front yard, put all the other stuff in the back. Your neighbors will like you better. It'll advertise your business. It's simple. So, more plants, more plants. As you see, I have elderberry because elderberry is awesome. I actually grow that for my family still, but because I grow it, I get customers because they want to know about elderberry. They want to get my elderberry. Who knows? Again, and this is all burdock. Burdock field. I'll be digging up all these roots in winter to have burdock for sale. Because I have way too much burdock for myself. Alright. Guard dog. He holds the door down. So just know he's right here at the door every time you try to come here. More burdock plants. They don't do as well in the shade, but who cares? I was just trying it out. A lot of test stuff. If I were to plant something here now, it would be the purple oric, because the purple oric is doing great. Makes a tea, I can go into it. It's an herb. So you can look up purple oric. That's a test plant. I put a loofah here late in the season to see if this insulated area would allow it to grow through the winter. Bunch of other things I'm just testing out. But yeah, this is all still part of the grower area. Mullen. Yeah. My garden setup. Now, to explain how I set up these gardens since I'm here, that's what I do. I make mulch piles, 8 inches, about 8. It's called the back to Eden method, which actually is not the back to Eden method. It's mound building, which is an ancient method that they use to compost and for people and dead people. All over the world, mound building exists. So mound building is the basis of a lot of agriculture and civilizations. I'm not trying to give you a sociology lesson though, so we'll talk about that later. But I make mounds. I generally use some compostable material underneath of it, and throughout the season, I will put my food waste in here to break these down faster. I will put I'll put food waste in there. That's it. I'm plant-based, so all my food waste is plants. More plants. If you recognize it, cool. Don't come over here and steal my plants, because that's an expensive one. But, yeah. My mint field patch. One of the 15 varieties of mint I have around. Holy basil. Let me back up so you can see this too. So that's the garden. Wait, hold on. That's one space. All that's unused. This is another space. Again, the growing beds, that bed, the bed you saw around, add up to a 1/4 acre of growing space. That's it. That's a 1/4 acre of growing space. Not talking about a 1/4 acre on my property, 1/4 acre of growing space. And I use every bit of it. This is my season off. Actually, I take that back. This was supposed to be my year off, so this is not the real setup. I'm showing you everything that grows naturally in my garden. All this stuff comes back and reseeds on its own. None of this stuff you're seeing is stuff I have to plant. I'm lying. There's one I did plant corn in here because I wanted to have ornamental corn. But that was for me. Everything else literally in my garden is something that reseeds. Oh, I'm lying because I'll probably show you cucumbers. And somebody gave me cucumber plants because they did. So I put them in there. Anyway, but all this stuff is reseeded. All this is reseeding plants. Perennials and reseeding. So I'll give you a bit of that. Passion flower, a grapevine that's hard to kill, gives you fruit and flowers. People use it for all sorts. Holy basil. I have a field of holy basil. I worked on basil. I am proud of my basil. Fields of holy basil. And yeah, I sell it. Holy basil is a great dish for Italian restaurants. I saw somebody in the comments say you should sell to restaurants. You're absolutely right. I have a bunch of holy basil to sell to restaurants, and I do work on that. I also sell it to, but another option, you can sell them to preservers, canners, homesteaders, other people that will be using them to upsell for their products. Not the only option. Cucumbers going up for pickles. Around here, picklers are crazy, ridiculous. So that's that. Uh, Another agastache. I love agastache. I'm dividing these up and making more of them because they do so freaking well at the market and they're just good for you. Uh, yeah, but I'm not trying to tell you about the plants. I'm just showing you the setup. Mound. The way I designed this garden is the same way you see this new setup, and I designed it off of space. This is the space I can fit a riding lawnmower through. I used to drive my riding lawnmower through here and park it underneath that shed, but I changed the setup. I actually got rid of the riding lawnmower because I didn't need it, because I didn't mind walking. And the walking lawnmower made it easier for me to garden. But I used to have it set up to where I could drive the riding lawnmower through here, and I'd push along other angles. And all these paths are runoff areas. The water runs down these channels. So the water that runs off of my patio runs here, here, and here. And in each of these areas, I create a little bump so that it pools up just slightly, and then it goes over, and so the water sits a little bit and stays and hangs around. Super reservoir here, we can explain that later because that's just a whole nother explanation. But this is how it's going. Seeing this? I put my mint generally up against the fence, aside from that patch, because I put my vining plants. So I have low-growing herbs, and then I have high-growing herbs. So, well, not herbs. This is a grapevine, and then there's a loofah. There's probably a loofah in here that randomly came up because, again, this is all things that came up on their own. Everything came up on their own from here. This is my curiosity of what happened if I didn't plant and got a bunch of dope stuff. So yeah, a lot of this stuff came up on its own. There are additions like the zinnias that I've been gifted, but that's not the garden. They don't even count. They don't count towards sales. I don't sell them. These are me. Anisosop, wonderful, wonderful plant. See that flower? Great herb. Use the herb, dried, flesh, sell it as a flower bouquet. It's a great plant. It just goes on. Another variety of mint, and you see all this? This is where I plant tomatoes. Think I'm joking? Tomatoes in a mint patch. These are wild tomatoes. I didn't trellis them. I didn't do anything special. These are my tomatoes growing wild in a mint patch. And I have rabbits in my garden that I let eat freely this year to see what happened. And I found out they can't eat all my tomatoes. They eat some of them. They can't eat them all. And they generally don't like to go in this mint. They don't go in the mint patch. The hornworm doesn't go in the mint patch. The squash bug doesn't go in the mint patch. Matter of fact, let's see if I can find one of these rabbits in here. Oh, crap. I could have told me I was going to walk through a spider web just now. All right. So the mint patch. Where's my little pet rat? Ah, here's my pet rabbit. Check this out. Check it. See, y'all think I'm joking. I got rabbits in here. See? Check. Look carefully. Look carefully. There it goes. You see him going in here? See the little rabbit in there? Maybe not. Can I zoom in for you? Ah, see the rabbit? Look at that. That was like perfect. That's the rabbit in there. What's up, little buddy? And rabbit, like there could be a rabbit in almost every patch. I have no idea how many rabbits are in this garden, but they're around. And they are my fertilizer for the season. Rabbits are one of the few animals that have manure that can go straight into your garden. So I'm letting wild rabbits fertilize my garden this year. And then I'm letting them eat up strawberries. Everything that's grown low to the ground, they can inhabit. I don't feel like bending over anymore. All right, water break. Let me get this tomato here. Oh, look at y'all. Let me get these tomatoes here. I'm gonna eat these while I talk to y'all some more. Okay, so grabbed a few cherry tomatoes to eat for myself. I was told that was a mistake a lot of farmers make. I don't know. Traditional farming will believe you're giving people the best, and you don't eat well, and you end up scavenging so you can have money. if you're using your money to buy food, just grow it. Oh my God, these are so good. I don't even care the name of them, they're just good. Oh, oh. They're like some black creme or something. But, they're a cousin to the purple Cherokee. Oh, oh, hold on, let me have my moment. Mm. Mm. Okay, last one. See this last one. Oh. Mm. Hold on. Okay, I'll go back for more after camera. All right. So a lot of herbs. The garden is an herb garden. It's really a tree, shrub, and herb garden that grows edible plants in it. That's what the garden is. We're gonna walk around now. That's the studio. That's the stuff I have not put up from helping my neighbor out. What did I do? Clean the yard, obviously. So I took some stuff from with me. Got some boards, some things I'll use to try to finish off my greenhouse. Matter of fact, let me say that real quick. Greenhouse, that actually does fit into the square foot model too. That is part of the quarter acre. That was the last edition of my quarter acre math, and I have not using it. So there's a small section of my quarter acre that I'm still not using properly. I'm on 0.89 acres, quarter acre. Studio, that's where that's where the other business goes down. But we're not talking about that. Okay, where are we now? You see a lot of things eating up. This would have a row cover over it if I really wanted to save the greens. Tree kale, I'm chilling. Like I said, this is to see what happens here. We have enough to eat. We get stuff off of here. Get out of here, Harley Quinn, beetle. Yeah. Dill, fennel, reseeds, comes back every year, does so much. Like I said, people give me plants. I just sit them in my garden. Sometimes I plant them. But yeah, we have excess, so it's a blessing. All right. Y'all wonder my setup. Tomatillas, again. I don't know why I keep saying this, because y'all hear it, but I'm going to say it again. This is all letting stuff grow wild. The most I've done is weed. All I've been doing is weeding out my garden. And you can see I haven't even been worrying about weeding out my garden. I'll take a lawnmower through here and let it be. There's supposed to be a path right here. There is a path right here. Tomatillas have grown all over the path. I'm going to take my lawnmower through it eventually, but I've just been chilling. I really have just been chilling. I wanted to see what y'all flowers look like. Ants on my hand, ants on my hand. Okay, so violets, edible flower, also uses lettuce greens. I personally use that to eat. I have not taken it to market yet, but I have gotten interest. Oh, looks like a hornworm has been over here. You see that? See that damage on there? Looks like I've had a hornworm over here. Somebody's been a little horny. Ha 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 ha. All right, anyway. Yeah. This is all test. This area is where everything drains from the middle of the yard over. It stays moist, and I use that to my advantage. I'm gonna take you through the tomatillo patch / field. I'm walking in a garden bed right now. It's a no, but just to show you what has happened. Let's hear. This is the tomatillo patch. That's a whole nother discussion on how to harvest tomatillos. And yes, they should have been trellised. They should have had a frame. And I told y'all, I'm watching what happens. Tomatoes, that. All right, let me step over. Oh, so, yeah, it's about ready. But I don't have my basket. I'm doing a tour. So this is the setup, as y'all asked. The setup is quite dense. Each walkway is 1 foot to 2 feet wide. And I use really large beds. Oh, see, hey, there's another rabbit in there. See my little buddy? Fertilizing my garden. Look at that little dude. So rabbits are in the garden. Once it gets dense, and there's this much in it, it's fine. So I have rabbits running wild in my garden. Birds go crazy during the early seasons. And here we go. Just That cannon lily isn't supposed to be there, but I can't kill it. There are trees growing in this bed. You can't see them right now because it's so dense. I have holy basil, lime basil, lemon basil in here. That's just growing wild right now for next year. I've already established beds over there. It's a lot. Generally, oh, actually, you can see it. When I am growing for money, noodle beans are all down the fence. This whole fence has beans on it. I don't need to do anything besides let them grow. I'll weave them in. I might stick one through the fence and back around, but that's it. Bean growing up the fence. This is, again, reseeding itself, growing on its own. I didn't plant a thing. That's pokeweed, pokeweed. You can have poke wine, poor man's wine, whatever. It's there. It grows like crazy over here. I'm gonna cut it so it doesn't reseed on this side of the yard. Like after this video, all that's getting cut off because I don't want those seeds in my garden. They take over. So you can see on the far fence, wild beans that have come up on their own. I say wild beans, like I didn't grow them. There were beans I planted some year, but now they're coming up on their own. I'm just looking at what happened because, again, taking a break, checking out stuff. Letting the rabbits do their thing, and I am managing to sell out of all this empty nothing of a space. Making good profit, too. So, the sales really come into how I do my marketing. That's it. So, y'all asked about the setup. This is the setup. I did not tell y'all diddly about all the plants in here, but there's a lot of plants. Just here alone, there's chamomile, eucalyptus, there's chamomile growing in this patch amongst the rocks a little bit. There's eucalyptus. There's two varieties of mint, berry mint and mojito mint. That's what they called it, but it's really just a different strain of peppermint, sweeter strain of peppermint. Milkweed does nothing for me but attracts the right insects. Goji berry, another burdock. Red sorrel, not the hibiscus plant. Echinacea's in here. That's you can't see because it's just the mint's growing over it, but it's there. Echinacea's in there, and it comes back, gives me echinacea. Lemon balm's in here. Tomato plant, there's a tomato plant right here for no reason at all. Doing great too. I get tomatoes out of here. See, tomatoes. Oh, hold on, let me get out the light. Tomatoes. Oh, might not be able to see it. Either way, I tried. Tomatoes. There are tomatoes on the vine. There are tomatoes on the vine. There are tomatoes. This is the bad thing about letting stuff go. You see these things just breeding all up in my garden? It's going to be a hell of a year next year because I'm doing that. But we'll see. I'm going to have ducks next year, so they're going to have a ball eating those. So we'll see. With goji berries, kale. All right. Now, before I go off, I'll just show you a bit of mixed planting. This is all kale. This kale is still alive. These sticks of kale are still alive. I cut them and let them be. While they're going, I decided to just plant some corn and see what happened. I've never done succession planting of corn and kale, which to me is a bad idea because they need the same nutrients to get going. Corn is a big nitrogen user. Kale needs nitrogen to grow leaves. So I'm thinking it's a bad idea, but I want to see what happens. So one more last bad idea before I really go hard again on my garden. And yeah, my burdock plant, personal family burdock, valerian. It's a lot. It's a lot. I think I have a meeting I have to get ready for in a bit. It's been 30 minutes of video. Snapdragons. Snapdragons are all throughout the garden. They attract wonderful insects, very beneficial. And snapdragons are edible, look great in flower bouquets. They're just useful. They're a useful plant to have. Very useful plant to have. Somebody asked, this is also a teepee trellis that I make. I use some bamboo, and I tied with, that's passion fruit. I think I'm gonna go back to using the Bermuda grass in my garden because it's stronger. But yeah, I just tie it up, and I stick 4 posts in the ground tied together, and I wrap my plant around. So yeah. But I just had that set up from some other time. I'm not using it right now. Yeah. Bunch of little things, bunch of little tests going on. Let's see if this one's going out real quick. I'm about to get out of here. Cucumber plant is not died, but it's not thriving as I thought. Oh, it died off. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I wanted to see what happened if I put a cucumber plant in a bed this dense. Nothing. But yeah, strawberries. I have to show y'all these. It's too much. It is way too much going on here to try to pack it in one video. But y'all asked for the quarter layout. That's the layout of my quarter. Flowers, it's a lot. And this is the wild grow setup. Wild growing. All this comes back on its own. So if somebody were to buy this property, they would be buying actually what you see here. They get all that with the property automatically. This is a spearmint field that is coming back now. Oh, it's just, I had to get one of these leaves. They're so good. Yeah. Oh, I wish y'all could just experience this. I want y'all to be well and be well. Love y'all and be well. Take care. Oh, y'all made sweet potatoes. It's just ridiculous. Take care. Love y'all.